Hi, this is Sean,
And this is Guido.
and we're from EZarchitecture.com. We're two architects who talk about architecture and design related issues from New York City. This week we're going to talk about office design, and we have two examples that we found that we really like that we thought create a nice comparison with one another. So we're going to talk about them. Why don't we start with introducing the two particular office that we're going to talk about, Guido?
Yes. Okay. So we are showing two examples. One of them is it's here in New York. It's the Bloomberg headquarters. It's in 59 and Lexington. We are going to see some pictures now.
Right.
And the first example was designed by an office called Cesar Pelli made a core and shell building, which is the outside building, but the interior was done by Studios Architecture.
Yeah, it's pretty common for a larger project like that because some architecture firm has specialization with interior office renovation, while other architects have more specialization regarding the architectural portion of what the outside building look like, especially when it comes to like a high-rise design.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Some people would understand better if we
Mhm.
said architectural and interiors. So in this case, we will speak a little bit about both, but mostly from the
Right.
interiors. So as you could see, this is like a information and news corporation, Bloomberg, and basically they what they claim is that they have transparency in the information and everything. So what they wanted to do is just to translate that idea, that transparency of the transparent ideas
Public. Right.
to the architecture. So in this case,
Right.
all the offices are open. Basically, it's like an open space. There is no back of the house. There is no front of the house. It's just one place.
It is very transparent. I do go by that office pretty often, and you can kind of just you can see right through the building practically. You can see everyone working. There were no individuals. I don't even think there's cubicles. You can just literally see everyone sitting at these long open tables working away.
Correct.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's like everything is open, and the only enclosed spaces are the conference rooms, and those are also they are not closed, they are open as well. It's just glass with some kind of frosted or some plastic color
Right. And we wanted
image.
to we wanted to find two office to kind of like play against one another and kind of compare them. So because Guido looked at the Bloomberg headquarter, I decided to find something a little bit different. I found a really
Yeah,
interesting office that
tell us
is
about that office. Yeah.
in Italy. It's called Bastardstore.
Hmm.
Bastard.
What a name. So
Exactly.
who's the architect there?
The architect is okay, you're gonna have to help me with this. Studio Metrico.
Studio Metrico. Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct.
All right.
Yeah.
That's so it's a really interesting design. First of all, they're a skateboarding and t-shirt fashion design company. So obviously they're very very different. You have the serious financial information company on one end, and then you have these kind of young, design company on the other. But there's certain similarity between the two offices. First of all, you're looking at a very kind of well-known image, which is their stock room of this office. There's actually they built this like skate, bowl right over it, and they can go skateboarding right in the middle of their office. It's very
Right.
cool. But what I think is interesting is that they use an old theater. They renovated, but they kept most of the space,
Mhm.
the same. So as a result, their office had these large, very huge volume spaces, that you don't often see. You can see a picture of the original theater, how big the main, viewing area was. So it's sort of this grand scale that you see this, similar um, situation at Bloomberg office. They have this giant atrium that I think you mentioned everything revolve around.
exactly. Yeah. So, but in this case, I could say that one of the big difference of the project is like this is an old building in Italy, in Milan. I think it's in 1940s cinemas
Mm-hmm.
that they re-realize with a different um, space with a different function. But in Bloomberg, that was basically a brand new building,
Right.
and it's not a coincidence that this new office in Milano. It's in Europe, and the European approach. It's a completely different one. Basically, try to get to keep the past and
Right.
try to revitalize it. But basically, they cannot do a lot of things, neither outside and sometimes not even inside. So basically, this is an example. These are more. I think it's more conservative way approach of designing. So
Right.
just keeping the existing. So and
But
can you tell us? Yeah, can you
uh,
tell us a bit about how it works? So those are like four former skateboarders
right.
who create this trendy
Right.
office maybe like 10, 15 years ago, something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
I mean, so it's very design oriented. There's a lot of imagery. I mean, they took the original building and sort of just, added a lot more pictures. They added, they did some finishes update, but they kept most of the space very similar. And this is what I really found interesting because, it's basing a theater as a result. I mean, in theater, you go there to watch something. You have these wide sweeping stadium settings in a sort of a bowl shape, which is actually how Bloomberg is
Yeah,
also configured because Bloomberg is about the transparency and about you being able to kind of watch what's going on. So it's
right.
very much about like, seeing, it's like one of those Greek amphitheaters. They're
Hmm.
both configured the same way. So it's that aspect is very interesting. A lot of very open workspace. You can see a photograph of the working studio. It's literally on the audience portion of the balconies.
Yeah,
So it slopes down. So again,
yeah.
there's that transparency where people who are working are being kind of displayed. You
Exactly.
know.
That part of the design remind me the Prada store in New York. You know, in Soho, there is like that Prada store which has like like a like a space with
There's also a big ramp inside,
with a
right?
big It's one part is a big ramp and the other one is like steps. So
Right.
that space remind me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that they steal the idea or something, but that's a
I mean,
closer.
similar idea kind of go throughout
Yeah.
because in the when go into a high fashion store like Prada, it's very much about
Yeah,
seeing what they have
seeing and
and
being
being
seen.
seen exactly. You
Yeah,
are also part of the display, so
exactly.
they make sure that
Right,
people feel like they're on a stage.
right,
So anyhow, this week we're just going to introduce these two space. Next week we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about the things that we like about like sort of some of the detailed things, and also we're going to start focusing on the lobby, which is one of the things that we're really
right.
interested
So
in.
we are focusing also in our uh, corporate interiors series. We are
Right,
focusing about the lobbies, and we are trying to compare. So we will compare both lobbies in these
mm-hmm.
works, and then of course we will continue with other projects.
Right. So until next week, this is Sean,
And this is Guido.
and this is EZarchitecture.com. Hope you like this. Bye.
Bye bye.